Oh, what is good, YouTube? Krishan checking back in with another video. In this video, we will be comparing William Bonac from the 2022 Arnold Classic to the 2022 Mr. Olympia. And after William placed second to Brandon Curry at the Arnold Classic, a lot of people expected him to be top 2, top 3 going into this year's Olympia. And at the least, you probably had William Bonac in your top 6. But somehow, William actually slipped all the way down to 9th place. So we are going to take a closer look at these physiques today. Now, while I was gathering pictures for this video, I couldn't help but notice that NPC posted some pics of William Bonac losing control of the midsection. And I'm not talking about this to put William down in any way, but just to let you guys know, this could be one of the reasons why he slipped down in placings. And William was having a hard time controlling his midsection, and he was also right next to Andrew Jack, a guy that has some of the best abs in the sport. That was just a bad situation for William all over. But let's go ahead and start this comparison off with the front double bicep. And the first thing that I noticed in this shot, at this year's Olympia, William Bonac was either having a hard time controlling the midsection, or his waist grew from the Arnold Classic, or it could possibly be a mixture of both. But William already isn't the most aesthetic guy, but he definitely flows a lot better at the Arnold Classic. Looks a little bit blocky at the Olympia. And once we take a look at the quads, they look slightly bigger at the Arnold Classic, but definitely in better condition. At this year's Olympia, William Bonac overall just looks a little bit watery, and he said himself he was 100% flat, and he got here on a late flight, which made him hold a little bit of water. William Bonac had his own show prior to the Mr. Olympia, and he wanted to be there in person. And let's take a look at the front lat spread pose. Now, I'm not sure William's legs are actually down in size from the Arnold Classic, but I can definitely tell that they are flat. And at the Olympia, he's executing this pose a little bit different, leaning up a little bit more, making the delts pop. But as I said earlier, William Bonac just flows better at the Arnold Classic. And Bonac said this past offseason he was at his heaviest weight, but he is a shorter guy. And when you're a shorter guy, you have to be very careful about adding size because the waist can grow in the process. And I personally believe that getting bigger wasn't the best game plan for William this offseason, because once again, he either grew the waist or he's having a hard time controlling it. Now let's take a look at the side chest pose. And this is pretty interesting. I said that William Bonac looked a little bit flat at this year's Olympia, but comparing the upper bodies in this shot, they actually look pretty similar, and actually the chest may be more full at the Olympia. But once we take a look at the lower body, Arnold Classic definitely has more size in the quad and the hamstring, but once again, is this really William Bonac losing size in the legs, or are they just flat? But overall, I don't think this side chest at the Olympia was too far off from the Bonac that we're used to seeing. Now let's take a look at the back double bicep pose. Now before we get into this comparison, take a look at the Mr. Olympia version. If you take a look at William's mid and lower back, similar to Big Ramy, people are also talking about Hunter Labrada and Valier. We don't see much going on in that area, and that's very odd for William Bonac, because maybe 2 or 3 years ago, Bonac had one of the best backs in the open class, but it looks like the lat insertions are slowly moving up. I remember William Bonac's lats literally inserted into his waist. But let me know in the comment section below, what do you guys think about that? But overall, it looks like the lats were a little bit lower at the Arnold Classic. Condition from behind is honestly very similar, but you can definitely tell that William is holding water at the Olympia. Now let's take a look at the rear lat spread pose. And honestly, these shots are very close. William's back may have been a little bit better at the Olympia actually. And once again, taking a look at the lower body at the Olympia, pretty good condition, but definitely holding a little bit of water. And if you guys look closely, Bonac has those same knots on his glutes as Hunter Labrada and Big Ramy. And I know this happens from time to time in the sport of bodybuilding, but I was very surprised to see so many guys make this mistake. And I've heard some credible people in the sport say that this probably came from doing injections very close to the time that these guys had to go on stage. But once again, with these guys being veterans, I'm very surprised that they would make this mistake. Now let's look at the side tricep pose. Another shot that is very similar for William Bonac. The main difference I see in this shot, the midsection looks to be a little bit tighter at the Arnold Classic. But I believe the midsection control and size was Bonac's biggest issue at this year's Olympia, because once again, he isn't the most aesthetic guy, and when the midsection isn't controlled, I believe it almost throws off the entire flow of his physique. But let's wrap up here with the most muscular shot. And I decided to leave out the ab and thigh shot because that isn't a good shot for Bonac. But taking a look at this most muscular, you can definitely see that he was flat and holding water at the Mr. Olympia. And I do believe the legs were flat, but I'm going to say they were probably a little bit down in size as well. Because if he had similar condition, the legs would definitely be a little bit smaller. But overall, this was not the Bonac that everyone was expecting to see at this year's Olympia. Out of 8 mandatory shots, I feel like at least half of them, he was pretty close to his regular self. He just wasn't as full. But as always, let me know in the comment section below, what do you guys think about William Bonac's physique? And what should he do in the future? But I hope you guys did indeed enjoy this video. If you haven't done so already, be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. I'm Krishan from GOAT Fitness, and that's it. I'm out.